In this video, we're gonna take a beginner videographer, give him a pro video package with a gimbal and a nice camera that can create cinematic footage. And I'm gonna use this iPhone and gimbal, and we're gonna see if we can create similar content. We're both gonna be using the FeiyuTech Scorp gimbals. He's gonna have the Scorp 2. I'm gonna have the Scorp Mini with my phone. And stay tuned to the end to see how you guys can win one of these gimbals. Now, as we go through today's video, I'm gonna teach Peter 8 different gimbal moves, so stay tuned so you guys can learn a thing or two as well. The first move that we want to do is called the push forward. It's a very simple move, but there's a little bit of technique that I had to teach Peter through this. First and foremost, you want to frame the car nicely in your image. Once you have it framed, you're going to hit record. You're going to hold the button on the gimbal, which is going to stop it from panning left, right, up, or down. We had the gimbal in pan follow mode, meaning that if you tilt to the left or to the right, your camera's going to follow. But what we didn't want here was for it to move left or right. We want the car to be framed beautifully in the middle. We hold the trigger on the gimbal, which essentially locks that frame, and then you're gonna do your ninja walk as smoothly as you can towards the vehicle. Best case scenario, do this as close as you can to the car and then back up doing the exact same thing, trying to keep that car as centered in the frame as possible. While this is a very standard move in automotive photography, it takes a little bit to get the hang of these gimbals and make sure that you're keeping that car centered. The next move is the fake slider or the revealing shot. This one's actually quite simple. Essentially, all you've got to do is find the frame that you want. You're gonna hold the button on the joystick again so that it's locking. You wanna do a squat with your legs kind of and get as much distance left to right as you can. Hold the gimbal to the left or to the right, and then hold that button and then just move that gimbal across your body. It's important to try and limit how much up and down movement you do because the gimbal has a harder time compensating for those types of movements. So do your best to just move straight across left to right. A fun shot you can use this for is with logos, emblems, headlights. We also used it in the interior of the car, kind of revealing and showcasing the steering wheel. I've personally never actually owned a slider because I've always had a gimbal. You can do this high, you can do this low. It is a super diverse and really easy to do gimbal move. The next move is called an orbit, where you have a central focus and then you walk around. This is kind of like what you do with drones essentially, but we're gonna try and do this with the gimbal. For this move, we're gonna have the gimbal in pan follow mode, meaning it's gonna follow our wrist movements left and right. Keep your knees bent and start cross walking to the side, trying to keep that car as centered as you can. Now you can dabble with the settings a little bit to see how it will follow your wrist, but this is where it just takes getting used to the gimbal and understanding how it moves and how you move to keep that car as centered as possible. A fun little thing you can do in editing with this shot is if you actually add some scale, zoom in or zoom out in this frame, it adds a really cool dimension to this orbit as well. Try this out in your editing. Next on the list is the interior reveal. So we're gonna start with a nicely framed shot inside the car, and then we're going to pull out of the car to showcase the dashboard. What we learned is that this actually isn't as easy as it looks, especially when you're using a heavier gimbal kit because it gets a little bit heavy. Peter and I are both over 30, so this actually was starting to ache on our backs at this point already. So make sure you work out or something because carrying a gimbal all day can get heavy. For the interior reveal shot, we found the PF mode to be the best mode for this. How we started was by framing the dashboard as well as we could in our shot, and then slowly turning our wrists as we exited the car and walking back as smoothly as we could to reveal the dashboard and the inside of the car. This one was already starting to incorporate some of the push-ins or pull-outs and some of the tilting and orbiting movements that we've already learned. So it gets a little bit more complicated, but as you can see, the more you practice this stuff, the better you're gonna get. The next one's one of my favorites, and this is FPV mode. On these gimbals specifically, it's actually really easy to get into FPV mode because they have a button right on the side for it. But what this does is essentially is a first person view. So however you tilt the camera, it's going to move with you. There's a couple of great ways that I like to use this, and this is around the wheels, and I love getting wheel details. And then if you use similar actions around different parts of the cars, it starts to create these really, really cool transitions where you can start creating these small scenes in your edits where you have a ton of action and diversity. By shooting this in 60 frames per second as well, you can start by doing some quick ins, slow down on the movements you want, and then quick outs. This is a great way to add some energy to your edits, and it's a bit more diverse than the standard steady shots that you see, or level shots even, than you see in most car videos. The next move that we're gonna do with these gimbals is called the roll, and this is a great one for creating really cool transitions as well. You're gonna start by framing your subject as good as you can. You're gonna move over into the roll feature on your gimbal, and then all you have to do is start moving backwards. Once you press over on the joystick, it will start rolling at your predetermined rate. You can change how quickly or slowly this roll goes, and that's up to you. This is a great way to add some very cool transitions. If you roll in or out on different parts of the car, you can add those whip transitions. This move isn't too complicated as the gimbal is doing most of the work, so this is a great one for you to practice that ninja walk as you move forward or back, and try and land as centered as you can. Keep that car or emblem or whatever you're shooting as centered in your shot as possible while you're moving back. Next on the list is the jib or the crane shot. Previously, you'd have to set up these massive cranes or jibs to get these style of shots, but ever since the development of gimbals, these shots have become very easy. So for this shot, you're gonna start by framing your car how you want it. You're gonna hold the trigger of that gimbal so it keeps your frame as best as possible, and then you're just going to go up or down. You can go up, down, left, right, across your body, whatever you want to do. This adds different levels and dimensions to your shot. One thing that I really enjoy about this FeiyuTech gimbal is that it has the dial on the side, which you can set to pan, tilt, or roll. I love using this for the tilt function because then you can control the direction of the head, and it's super smooth and easy to use. You could see we're doing a crane move by the GTI emblem there, and I would just go up and down with my crane move and then turn that dial to keep the camera focused on that emblem, and it was super smooth, very easy to use. You can use the joystick, but I find it's a little bit more difficult to find that perfect speed to track that object. So that's why I preferred using the wheel in this circumstance. So as you can see here, we were shooting the emblem of the car, and we would move up and down using the jib technique, but we would also tilt the camera to stay focused on the GTI emblem. The final move that I absolutely love is the push in while you tilt up. I love starting on the ground or the road and then tilting up to focus on the car. And this is a great shot to use if you have a car with a big wing. It makes that wing feel really great. It helps it stand out a ton. So the way you do this is by holding the trigger, and then you can use either the joystick, or in this case with the FeiyuTech gimbals, you can use the knob on the side to help you with that tilt up. Additionally, an easier way to do this is if you actually start with your car framed exactly how you want and move backwards while tilting your camera back down. Only con with this is if you're going to reverse this clip in post, is you need to make sure that there's nothing in the background that technically would need to be moving forward in time, like traffic or birds or people, for example. All of these gimbal moves can obviously be combined in various ways to create cinematic car shots for your videos. These are just 8 that I tend to use as a standard when I shoot cars. It gives you enough coverage. Now, one thing that I've talked about in my previous videos, which you can watch here, is when you're shooting a car or any kind of object, to do the 3/1 rule. Meaning, if you're shooting these new Option Lab wheels that I got for my car, you want to make sure to shoot them 3 different ways. So start wide, get the wide shot of those wheels, then do a medium shot, then do a tight shot. This gives you a ton of coverage when you get into post if you want to do a wide, medium, or tight. So I highly recommend checking out that other video. It's a point of view as well. You can see how I shoot my cinematic car videos.
What was the biggest takeaway from today?
You can throw all the information at me and it's just not going to happen right away. I'm going to have to get out, try it out, go back to editing, try it out again, go back to editing.
So I think one of the big takeaways from today is use your gimbal, use it often. The more you do it, the more you'll get better at it. I'm at the point now where I can take it out and do the shot once and feel very confident that I have the shot. So All this means is get out and use the gimbal.
Now, you might be wondering how you guys can win one of these two gimbals. Whether you've got a bigger camera or you're only using a GoPro or an iPhone, FeiyuTech has got you covered. So to enter the draw, I'm going to upload all of the iPhone footage from this shoot into a folder down below. You guys can download that footage and create an Instagram reel. You're going to tag me and FeiyuTech in that Instagram reel, and then you'll be entered into the draw. What I'd love to see is you use a minimum of 4 of these techniques in that reel. It doesn't have to be long, it can be short, but you do have to tag both myself and FeiyuTech. We will then pull a random name from all of the people that have created Instagram reels, and we will reach out to you on December 25th telling you you've won a brand new gimbal. Merry Christmas. That's freaking awesome. Now, just to be clear, FeiyuTech did not pay me to make this video. I just saw it as a great opportunity to teach you guys some great gimbal moves, and they agreed to do a giveaway to help out my community. But I appreciate your guys' time so much. If you guys haven't yet checked out my Lightroom presets, you can see them also linked in the description below. If you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is by purchasing those presets. I hope that you guys have found value in this video. If you did, give it a like, consider subscribing, and I hope that I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.